Hello, everyone. I'm Hugo,
And I am Jake.
and this is Unpopular Culture, and we're here to talk about Suicide Squad. And it's
Indeed.
actually it's funny because Jake and I normally talk about these movies before we're gonna do this, just to see
Sure.
our reactions, gauge what we're gonna say. This one, I have no idea what Jake's thoughts are in depth, and he doesn't really know what I thought. I sent him a text after I saw it, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers, fuck you. Number
Yeah.
one,
Okay.
again.
So hold on. You're making it sound like it's just garbage. It's not.
Okay.
It's not garbage.
You
It's
know what,
not.
though?
It's one of those things where if this wasn't Warner Brothers, you'd be like, okay, but it's Warner Brothers, so they continue to fuck up, and it's
But
the
that's-
same fuck up, and so that's why it's fuck you Warner Brothers. It's not fuck you this movie, which it deserves fuck yous here and there. But basically Warner Brothers takes movies and they're like, oh, this looks really good, but we don't want people to enjoy it, so we're taking this out, and then we're gonna take this piece out, and then Jared Leto, we're gonna make him angry, so we're gonna take that out, and then he's gonna send us used condoms in the mail.
I can already tell I dislike the movie more than you. You're more positive on it than I am, and
I'm
that's
not really positive on it, but I'm just like, clearly what the movie has wrong was not due to the filmmakers, you know?
Well, no, that's the point, though. I'm not blaming necessarily the director
I know.
who has
I'm just
done good
saying,
movies.
like, there's parts of it that are like, oh yeah, you can definitely see where it's going, and it starts to build, and then it's like, here's where Warner Brothers stepped in, and so yeah, fuck you, Warner Brothers. I agree.
I thought the writing wasn't very good either, and that's aside from the editing, which is a mess. It's not as bad, for reference, it's not as bad as Batman v Superman, but that shouldn't be your bar. Or it's better than Man of Steel's
editing.
But it's not good because it's a good movie, and it's not a good movie. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie you might enjoy if you're a fan of these characters. But the way I put it before was, this isn't a DC movie. This is a movie you will enjoy if you want to see characters that you know of from the comics or the TV shows or video games or whatever. You want them portrayed by actors in short vignettes strung together as if it is a movie with a terrible plot. And that's what this movie is. It's
sure.
It's so bad.
It's not so bad. It's not so bad. So bad implies like Ghostbusters was so bad. Okay, this was just like disappointing.
No, I think this was. Oh man. Okay.
No, Ghostbusters is way worse.
I would put it on the same level of Ghostbusters.
No, Ghostbusters was just like nothing worked ever. And then like this had moments where you're like, okay, we're picking up steam, and then it just kind of falls off. Yeah. We need to discuss things in order, because you're going to be all over the place because you're a fucking hate-fueled rage monster right now for no reason. Okay, so it starts out, and the opening scene is not good. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they opened this way. What they should have done, they open with like in the prison, and they look at Deadshot, and then they look at Harley Quinn, and then they go to Amanda Waller. They should have started with Amanda Waller and then gone that way. That was weird to me. Other than that, the first 25 minutes, I'm not super upset about any of it. Some of it seemed a little hurried, and they spend way more time on Will Smith's character and Margot Robbie's character, Deadshot and Harley Quinn, than anyone else for quite a while. But the way that they pull it off is kind of Waller's talking to these two guys. You've seen it in the restaurant and during the trailer where she's sitting there eating steak, talking. And she does great, by the way. I think everyone agrees that Waller is a really interesting character.
She did.
And,
she nailed
and
Waller.
well done.
Yeah.
Right. Like a conniving, totally evil person, but thinks they're doing the right thing, but is super scary. Yeah, it's a good job. So the way that she does it, she has like dossiers, and she goes like, here's who I have, and she Deadshot, and then there's a little vignette, and you see his kind of character motivation. It's basically she, through a series of sub networks, ends up giving Batman information to capture him, and ends up capturing Deadshot in front of his little girl. And so that's like a big deal to him. He wants to seem like not a bad guy in front of his daughter, which is, Will Smith can do that kids motivation thing really well. It always seems like he genuinely you know, if you've seen, it reminded me of Pursuit of Happiness, kind of his performance in that respect. Now, it wasn't obviously a tearjerker, but you could tell like he clearly is still a good actor.
One of the things I actually liked about the movie was Will Smith. This movie actually reminded me why we liked Will Smith in the first place years ago. He's a fun guy. He's charismatic. Now, that being said, I don't think this is how Deadshot is in the comics at all. So if you're a fan of Deadshot and wanted an accurate representation, I totally get if you hate it. But I enjoyed Will Smith being Will Smith, like 90s Will Smith again for a while. Although the writing, and this is a big part of the problem in the movie for me, the writing was bad. It's like someone was trying to imitate sort of sometimes Marvel quippiness, but they're not good at it, especially because a lot of these characters, it doesn't lend well to them. So Will Smith, let's call him Black Deadshot, because they write him like they said, okay, he's Deadshot, but he's also a black guy, so he's sassy, and he mentions that he's black a lot. So he'd be like, oh, you white people, you do that white people thing, get my kid into college, which some of that's fine, but it plays into another problem with the movie, and I'll let you go because I know you do want to do it in order, but since I'm on Deadshot, all the characters are written very stereotypically.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I don't have a moral like objection to it, whatever. If you want stereotypical characters, that's fine. But they also need to like be characters more than that. And
sure, I mean you say that, but like Deadshot is not necessarily the most nuanced of characters in the DC universe. So they basically don't start with a very good framework of characters to build on, but then they don't attempt really to make it a very deep thing. You're basically your emotional investment is really only tied to Deadshot and his kid, and sort of to Harley. It's a weird thing for Harley Quinn's character. It's actually if one of the better relationships in it is her and the Joker, because it's super awkward and weird and you don't really understand it, but you can tell that they do. In a way that it's like begrudging, and it's super odd, but it's like there's this. Basically, all of her vignettes are like flashbacks are Harleen Quinzel before like the full conversion, and she's clearly falling in love with the Joker, and it's like he's obviously manipulating her, but then later on it seems like he can't not have her around.
Here's what
it's interesting.
I want to talk about the Joker specifically a little bit later, but while we're talking about the relationship itself, it was different than most Joker Harley Quinn representations in the comics or TV shows, because generally it's a one-sided abusive relationship. This one, it tackled it more as if it was a codependent abusive relationship in which he beats on her. Obviously, he is very, very abusive. However, he also genuinely seems to have an obsession with getting her back in his own twisted, jokery way. I think he does love her, or at the very least, love owning her. I don't know.
It feels more like an addiction than it does a love thing, like to both of them. It feels like I don't want to, like heroin. Like you don't want to do it, but you just go do it, and you seek it out, and you put yourself in danger for it. Like, well, no, it's super weird. It's definitely almost like they treated it like, okay, what if they have a chemical dependency on one another? And they kind of like get drawn in, even though they both are like, yeah, this is silly. I did like Joker sometimes. Man, we could just talk about Joker right now.
Okay, fuck it. Let's do
it. Because the beginning of it is pretty front-loaded with Joker stuff. You're wrong as far as how much he's in the movie. He's in the movie kind of. It's not a lot because he's not a main plot character, but he's always kind of in the background. And they have like he's on screen for everything I'm looking at. The lowest estimation is like 8 to 10 minutes, which is probably accurate. Now you're saying 2 minutes, and the first time you said it was like 30 seconds. You're wrong. You're just wrong. I watched it knowing. No, I watched it with you in mind and was like, okay, I'm gonna go. There's like 6 long scenes near the beginning where he's talking. It's decent. It's a decent amount. Now, it's not as much as they like. If you would go by the percentage of time he was in the trailers, he would be in half this movie easily. But he's not. It's not really a Joker story anyway. But beyond that, just the performance in and of itself, it's a super uncomfortable Joker. It's not Heath Ledger's where it's like he steals every scene. in a way that's like magnetic, and you're excited to see it. It's almost like it would be if Joker was a real person. Like you're intrigued just endlessly about this person, but it's like it's so uncomfortable.
He plays it from what we've seen, although it is short scenes, and he doesn't, even in the scenes he's in, a lot of it's just walking around. He doesn't talk that much. He has a couple scenes where he says some weird shit. You've seen some of it in the trailers, but there's not like a long conversation he has.
The club scene is the one that lasted like 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, I did forget about the club scene. You're right, but he plays it more like a person with an actual mental illness, whereas Heath Ledger's Joker and Jack Nicholson's Joker, they're weird, but they have it together. This guy, genuinely crazy.
It's scary.
That being said, though, I didn't see enough of it to make a judgment, but right now I'm leaning towards I don't like it very much. And that's Jared Leto is a good actor, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this, especially the tattoos are stupid as fuck still. I still think they're stupid, but at the very least in the movie, in motion, I didn't notice them that much. Whatever. But
yeah, well, the thing is, it's Harley has the same things, and it looks like they did it to each other.
Probably. Sort of. I think that's what the director said too, but at the same time, it's like, I don't understand. It's hard to talk about this movie because it is kind of jumbled. The editing was clear. It was edited like 3 or 4 times differently. You can tell.
I will say though, like again, like when I think of editing fuck ups, I think Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. This isn't that. It's not as bad as those. It's just, it definitely has like, I would say it's less editing and more tone. Where the edits obviously are the issue, but it's not that they're like disjointed in such a way that it doesn't make sense thematically. Like sometimes in Batman v Superman, the first cut, you're like, okay, why are we doing this now? It's not like that necessarily. No. It's more of like you're like, we're making jokes and now it's serious, or it's like a tonal difference in the editing, not necessarily the timeline.
I agree.
So it's different in that way. And actually, I know that you said while we weren't recording that they're not planning on doing an Ultimate Edition, but I just read a recent article that said like there may be one now. So I don't know. Again, I'm not paying for that shit.
I'm not either. Warner Brothers can't be doing this. They're turning into like the EA or Ubisoft of movies, where
I was going to say this is like we're going to send them out an unfinished product, and then later on they'll buy the DLC.
It's fucking bullshit, and they can't keep doing this. This movie had the second week had like it was either 63 or 67% drop second week, which isn't shocking. Although in fairness, that's pretty industry standard. Even Guardians of the Galaxy had that. But the difference between this and Guardians of the Galaxy, as much as this movie really, really wants to be Guardians of the Galaxy, and it fucking does, Guardians of the Galaxy is actually a fun movie that people enjoyed, and it had good word of mouth, so it had legs. This movie has been getting shit on. Now, I don't think it deserves like a 20% rating, although that's on Rotten Tomatoes, and if you know how that works, it's not people rated it 20%, it's just 20% of people liked it, which is probably fair. This movie is not going to make money. It just can't. This movie can't make money. And Warner Brothers, Geoff Johns is in charge now. This is Wonder Woman's the first movie he's going to have a big hand in, as far as I know. He has to turn this ship around. And Justice League. But Warner Brothers.
Also, your mic's fucky for just a second. You should address that. But I will say there was some really cool moments in Suicide Squad, though. Like, it did have really fun moments. There was a lot of jokes that actually hit. Harley Quinn was a standout performance, I think. I think she did an excellent job. Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang was super entertaining, although limited. Some people were upset about the character Slipknot, who kind of gets just pushed into the situation. But that was kind of to me, it seemed like a really obvious joke. Like, they go, oh, and this is Slipknot. He can get out any knot, and he can climb all over the place with his rope guns. And everyone in the theater kind of is like, who the fuck is that? And that's kind of the joke. And then they immediately kill him. Like,
is
immediately.
My mic better now?
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Okay. Slipknot.
Yeah. Well,
that was his role in the comic, though, too. He was in the comic too, and they blew his. He's the guy that they test the shit on. That's the
right. He's the one. It lended to Boomerang's character though, because he's basically like to Slipknot. They're walking down the street, and he's like, "Yeah, this is bullshit. There's no way they fucking can detonate our heads off." And then Slipknot's like, "All right," and then they kind of like shoot around, and he tries to escape, and then the fucking dude blows his head off, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, I guess that's what that is." Some people just don't understand that joke for some reason. It was very obvious. It was like they basically winked at the camera and went, why is he here? But it wasn't that hammy. It was just like, it was obvious to me that was a joke. But another cool thing that I didn't expect, like some of the past things you get when Waller's talking about the people she's got in the I don't know what's that place called? It's she calls it the Hole a lot, where she's keeping the Suicide Squad basically.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them get taken by I know Harley Quinn's chase scene. They're talking about her. She gets like beat up by Batman after a car chase underwater, and and then Deadshot, and then actually Captain Boomerang, who is a Flash villain, gets caught by the Flash, so you get a little bit of Flash for a second. I thought that was really cool, and I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get the other vignettes from because that was part of like what it should have really started with, honestly, is that opening chase scene with the Joker.
It needed to. I would have rather. This is what they should have done, and maybe this was the original plan. I don't know. They edited this a bunch of different ways, so who knows? I would have started the movie instead of having the flashbacks be flashbacks that she's expositing about. Start with the vignettes. Just start out with the Joker chase, then show.
Well, the Joker chase. The Joker chase would have been amazing because you can have the Joker chase. You have Batman. You get everything that you want right up front, and then you have Batman punch Harley Quinn in the face underwater. And then, like, she's in prison, and then you can kind of see that she's in prison, and then you cut away again.
Right. And then you show the Deadshot scene.
Right, yeah. And then back in prison, and then back out to someone else, like Killer Croc or something, which we don't see how he got.
Yeah, that was weird. Right? It was weirdly selective when they did that. They didn't show Killer Croc. They didn't show...
They showed Pyro.
Did they show...
Pyro dude.
They showed him surrendering, I guess, but I don't know. And then... there were a couple things like that in the movie. I know why they didn't show Slipknot, obviously, because he was a joke character that gets killed to prove the
He was more of a. He wasn't a convict anyway. He was more of like the Katana-esque.
No, because when he got out of the car, he punched a woman in the head, so he wasn't a convict.
Yeah, maybe he did. He was in full gear already.
That was funny. People got mad about 2 things that were fucking stupid to get mad about: Slipknot punching that woman in the face, which he's a bad guy.
Why is that a bad thing? I don't understand.
And Batman punching Harley Quinn in the face because she's a girl. Do you know anything about fucking Harley Quinn and Batman? Batman knocks her out when he needs to. She literally, like a minute before that, tried to stab Batman in the face. Like,
Batman consistently tries not to beat the shit out of Harley Quinn, and he always ends up having to. And it's kind of the joke. Like, that's kind of the thing. He's like, I don't want to beat the fuck out of Harley Quinn again. I just don't want to do it. And then he has to punch her in the face to make her fucking stop because she's insane. That's fine. Who cares if she has a vagina? Why does that matter?
I don't know.
It's not like it was a domestic dispute. It's Batman. He only punches people.
This is off topic, but I'm convinced everyone I went to that movie with is an idiot in the theater because, he pulls Harley Quinn out of the water, puts her on the thing. He checks her pulse, I think. And then he goes to give her mouth to mouth. Duh. But the minute he did it, like half the people in my audience were like they think Batman's fucking date raping her. Like, you just saw her drown, you idiots. You know what he's doing. That was just funny. This movie. The worst part about this movie is that it wasn't utter garbage. I almost wish it was worse because I can see
there were some really fun parts. Like the parts also, the biggest problem with it, honestly, is not the editing. It's the villain that doesn't matter at all. I don't even know his name. They don't even tell you. It's the Enchantress's brother.
Oh, yeah. The worst part about this movie...
It should have just been Enchantress. Why is he there? If it was just Enchantress, you have some sort of character motivation. Basically, they just wanted to have big orange dude.
I think part of the problem with the movie was of scale. This was not a villain that the Suicide Squad should have been taking on. Period. Like, okay, I understand why this character. I know, but I'm just saying it doesn't in the movie because that's how they wrote it. But I don't think that makes sense. The mission from the movie from the ground up was fucked because the mission itself wasn't interesting. It was just big CG villain doing big hole in the sky.
It was an extraction. It wasn't that.
I know. I do understand that. I understand that was the goal.
Reveal on that. The reveal on that was misplaced, though. That's the problem. What it should have been was the very last thing you see of that, like the climax of the third act, is they defeat the villain or whatever, and they're still worried they're going to get their heads blown off, and then they save the person, and if you're not interested in spoilers, you should leave. I don't know why you're here. We've already spoiled so much. But it's Amanda Waller is the one that sent them on a mission to save herself because she's still in the city, and that's kind of a twist. And it was a good one if they pace it differently. Like, it was fine where it was at. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, I get why they're pissed off. But it's not like I didn't see it coming sort of thing, I guess. It just wasn't like a big twist. It wasn't something that makes you go, oh, shit. But if it happens after, like, the climax battle, it definitely works. And also, Enchantress should have just been, that's it. It's just Enchantress.
I don't understand what they needed a scene or something where at least Amanda Waller looked like she was trying to stop the incident in the first place. Because as far as I can tell, her plan was to leave and just hope the situation resolves itself. Was she hoping Batman would show up and fix it, or what?
Well, the Justice League isn't a thing yet.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There was no side plan that we heard of where anyone was trying to resolve the situation at all.
I think maybe the idea was they're going to nuke Midway City.
Oh, maybe.
Which would have worked, but she wanted to be out first. Now, they don't say that necessarily, but it kind of feels that way. Because she's saying, okay, extract this person, pull out, and then the military will take care of this.
See, they should have said that then. I think there should have been a throwaway line that could have been a stake.
No, I agree with you there. It was the overall plot is what's really lacking. And I could totally write a better version of this. But the character moments in between are really the highlight anyways. And it doesn't help. I'm not saying it helps the movie out. I'm just saying, like, you're there for that. And at least part of that was pretty good. But yeah, the overall plot is, you can just throw it away. It doesn't matter.
Here's what I would have done. Because I have a problem with Harley Quinn being there anyway, because she has no reason to be there. Amanda Waller claims that the reason she's putting the team together is so if another big threat comes, they have a plan. Why is Harley Quinn on the team?
She has a baseball bat. No, I understand. I hear you. What I think would have been an interesting thing is if she has Harley Quinn on there, not because of her skills, but because she can kind of manipulate the Joker that way, because he's definitely effective at whatever he does. And she says out loud, like, one of my things is I'm really good at making people work against their best interest.
Right.
And if she has Harley Quinn, that's a pawn that she can use to really dictate and predict what the Joker does. And then he comes in and just destroys all sorts of shit at a certain point looking for Harley. And if part of her plan was to just get his assistance, because obviously she can't control him if he's in custody anyways, but she can control Harley to control him, that would have been an interesting manipulative Waller-esque thing that they really misstepped on. Maybe that was part of the plot, but they just erased it. I don't know, because again, we miss a lot of Joker scenes. But I did like some of the stuff, like mid, we'll call it B battle, before it got to the climax, like Act 2. There were some good character moments with the boomerang stuff and Flag. I really liked that one scene. It was one of the big fights. Maybe it was the first big fight between the we'll call them the I don't know, the cancer peeps. Basically the Enchantresses. She converts people into these zombie things, like in The Last of Us, and they attack and shit. There's this one point where Deadshot basically just destroys everything because he's never misses. He's the best military tactician on the planet, basically. And he just lays waste to all these monsters, and that was pretty cool. But I thought we were going to get more of that from the other characters.
See, I thought that was boring. I thought all the fights were super boring. Like, at
no,
least
I thought it was boring after that point. Like, before that, you didn't really get a setup where, okay, this isn't going to happen again. It was just like, I thought they were going to start to showcase their powers each in one battle after another.
Sure.
Like, I thought it's going to kind of be like a Avengers sort of thing where, oh, this is where Iron Man does his thing. Now Captain America does. So first you get Deadshot, and then after that you're going to get Captain Boomerang needing his specific skill to do a task, and then Croc, who actually does, but it's not. They don't film a lot of it, so it doesn't really matter. And then Harley could have been useful, and basically all she does is she goes up in that elevator and is super quirky that one time. But that was fun, but it wasn't. But it wasn't like it didn't. If you're writing Suicide Squad, what you need to do is have every character perform a task that Waller knew that they were going to have to perform, because that's how she manipulates people. That's really what you wanted, and you didn't do that.
One of my issues was that the plot, take out the Suicide Squad members and replace them with like a special forces,
right?
And the plot wouldn't have been that different. Like, okay, it's a most of the movie, at least after they get out there in the city, is them going from like generic empty street to generic empty street, and then a generic empty office building, and having these fights. The whole time they're surrounded by military personnel, not just Rick Flag, until like the last third of the movie. There's a bunch of other military people around them. So it doesn't feel like the Suicide Squad is doing anything. It feels like they're being escorted through the city by military personnel and occasionally getting into fights in which the military personnel are also fighting and doing a lot of the work. And then Harley Quinn will
it clearly seems like the Suicide Squad is better at dispatching the monster dudes than the military. But yeah, I agree with you in part where, yeah, they're basically escorted. Some of it was really corny. Like pretty much everything El Diablo said was corny as fuck.
Yeah, again with the stereotype thing. He's a
cholo.
The cholo man out from the LA, and these
don't use a fucking accent. It's awful. Please stop. I'm cringing. It's bad.
He burned his family, man.
You sound like a person who just had their first taco.
I'm a person who's heard of Mexican people, but I've never seen one.
No, it's seriously, it's pretty bad. It's a caricature, and that's by an actor, Jay Hernandez, who's actually an alright actor. He was in The Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal, which is a really good one, and this isn't nearly as good. But his character was weird. I didn't know a lot about him. Apparently, he's an Aztec spirit thing.
Yeah, that his power. The reveal at the end was fine. That he could like turn into that. The issue was that it's another big bullshit CGI end fight with a CGI monster guy that I don't care about.
I didn't mind the CGI in this as much as I thought I would.
Oh, I did. I hated it.
It wasn't good, but it didn't make me upset like Ghostbusters did. It just made me go, "Oh, that's CG. Okay, whatever." It wasn't impressive, but it also wasn't like Jurassic World bad. It was just like it was under the bar I would like it to be, but it wasn't like pissing me off. I think they should have really teased at the Diablo thing being more severe than it actually was. Like basically he's just the Human Torch until you find that he's also like sort of a god.
Yeah,
they don't tease at it. Like they don't treat the characters enough for any sort of build up. Like Killer Croc actually, like from here up looks amazing, but from here down, dude need to work out.
I didn't get that. Really? I thought he was a big dude. I don't.
He was just skinny and weird. He wasn't buff. It was odd that he like The Rock. He should have been like The Rock, you know?
Oh, I kind of see what you're saying.
He's like humongous. Like that guy didn't look physically imposing to the Batman we saw on screen, right? He just looked like green.
Sure,
he was really, really great makeup, though. Do not mistake what I'm saying. I'm saying the actor inside the makeup needed to fucking lift some heavies.
Oh my god, the writing for Killer Croc was the worst writing for any character I think I've ever seen, and that's not hyperbole. Literally, okay, so he's Waylon Jones. I always assumed Waylon Jones in the comics. I assumed he was a black guy.
Yeah,
fine,
he's
whatever.
Been a black guy.
And that's fine, but he's not defined by that. But in this movie,
Leslie Jones, but in Croc form.
I literally thought they were 5 seconds away from him asking for a bucket of fried chicken and a watermelon. Like, I'm not kidding. It was that kind.
No, I know. He literally. Okay, so at the end of the movie, they all get rewarded with something, except for which, by the way, I did think that the Captain Boomerang thing, where he refused to ask for shit and kind of just wanted his freedom and didn't get shit and just ends up in the hole at the end where everybody else gets all the things they asked for, was fucking fantastic. But Killer Croc asked for Black Entertainment Television, BET. He asks for that.
Yeah.
And then he has it, which, by the way, with the scene where he's watching it isn't as cringy as him asking for it. It's just kind of funny. But did black people even watch BET still?
I didn't even know BET was still a thing.
Right.
Like, oh my god, and he calls Harley Quinn Shouty, like what up, Shouty? And oh my god, as it's like,
dude, you're so fucking white. Here's Shouty. No, when you say when you say it though, it makes it sound like she yells a lot.
Yeah,
it's not Shorty, it's Shouty. You're so bad. It's Shouty.
I feel like
Shouty.
I feel like what happened was.
I live in fucking Idaho. Come on, you can be better than this.
I feel like the writers went to the executives and showed them the script, and one of the executives was like, "Okay, so Waylon Jones, right? He's a black guy, right?" And the writer was like, "Yeah, he's a crocodile man, but yeah, his parents are black." And then the executive went, "But wait, how do we know he's black? He doesn't people need to know he's black. Write in here that he's black. And then the writer was like, what do you mean? I mean, he's a black guy, but he looks like he's a crocodile guy. But then the executive was like, no, but like, make him black. You know what I mean? Like, and they winked like, make him black. Wink, wink, wink. You know,
yeah, it was terrible. It was not good. I'm trying to think of the other characters that were in it. It was Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Croc, Boomerang, Katana, which was weird, but she's always weird, so it was fine. And then Flag, right? Was there another one I'm missing? I mean, Enchantress, but she wasn't really part of it. I feel like I'm forgetting someone because they didn't treat all the characters equally at all. It was really a Deadshot movie, right? Like
it was Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
Okay, it was more Deadshot than Harley Quinn. Like a lot of the time, I'm going like, please explore the other characters. Please just show me something about Waylon Jones or the other dude that killed his family with the fire powers.
I actually liked I forget her name. She was in Wolf of Wall Street. What's her name?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, yeah.
She did a really good job. It was a very good Harley Quinn.
The writing, again, was atrocious in a lot of places. There's literally, if you haven't seen this movie, once Slipknot gets his head blown off and they do it via phone app, literally, Harley Quinn, I almost feel like she didn't do this, but I almost feel like she wanted to look in the camera and go, do you like us yet? We're funny. And she said, now that's what I call a killer app.
She did say that, didn't she?
She did fucking say that. And you can tell where some of the reshots happened because you can tell they tried to inject more humor into it.
Hold on.
But they did it poorly.
I don't know if I'm going to full defend that line, but that's a very Harley Quinn line. Like, if that's in the animated series, no one is upset.
But I think in the animated series,
the animated series Harley Quinn, though, right? Just a little darker because it's people. But like she says Mr. J.
I don't feel like the writers knew that wasn't funny, though.
No, I agree with you. No. I think the intent behind the joke is garbage. I think her executing the joke is pretty Harley Quinn. Does that make sense? Like, writing that joke is the wrong move, but she was not at fault for it.
It literally made me like
Harley Quinn making a shitty joke. Because I think the idea behind Harley Quinn is that she's the Joker's girlfriend and she tries to be funny and it's never really funny.
But see, I don't think that's the intention. That's fine. I actually
I agree with you that the writers did not intend that. I'm just saying it ended up working out. I'm with you. It wasn't funny. And that's kind of the point. It was like an anti-joke because she says a lot of that shit.
But there was like a beat that, you know, when sometimes in movies
they thought it was funny.
They thought it was funny. There's like a beat pause for laughter, and I was like, oh my god, seriously, guys. Some of the jokes worked. Jai Courtney was great in this, which is the only time I've ever said a good thing about Jai Courtney, and I don't think it's his fault. In Terminator Genesis, that's not his fault. Yeah. It's just written poorly. They keep trying to put him into these bland, generic action guy roles with no personality, but that's not who he is. Really, right. I don't think. And he was really funny in this for the times he was. Like, the funniest thing...
I wish he was in it more.
I do. I wish so, too. One of the funniest things in the movie, I thought, was they're in a bar. You've seen it in the trailers. This is like when they think their mission's failed or whatever. And Rick Flag basically says, okay, you guys are free to go. I'm not going to chase you, whatever. Do what you want to do.
And he just leaves.
And he immediately fucking leaves. And I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. And the timing was perfect. And it was totally in line with his character. The weird thing is, in the next scene, he's back.
Well, he kind of walks in, and the idea is he leaves and then has a little remorse, but he's probably still going to leave. And then, like, Harley kind of goes with it, and he kind of seems like he's connecting with the different characters, and he's like, fuck it, I guess. He's like Rocket. Does that make sense? He's the Rocket in this.
Okay, fine.
Where he's like, oh, we're standing now. Okay, we're standing. Fine, fuck it, we're going.
I begrudgingly will agree, but I don't want. I find it hard to compare.
Rocket. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm just saying that's his role, and they could have made it more. They could have made the character interactions way stronger, but they didn't. Man. There's Rick Flag was okay. He was fine. I like that actor a lot. He delivers his lines well. He's just, it's Rick Flag.
Who does whatever.
Shit? Yeah. Waller was, of course, good. I think the mid-roll scene is one of the more interesting parts about the movie.
That's the worst part, too, is that ends. God damn. Ben Affleck, I am so sorry.
He's so good.
I'm so sorry, Ben Affleck. He was in like a minute of this movie in the end credits, and he was like the best part, because what happens is he's sitting down with Amanda Waller, and he gets some files from her in exchange for helping cover up the Suicide Squad incident. And
it's basically information on the other metahumans that are going to turn out to be the Justice League. And that's really, it's not just the Lex stuff you saw in Batman v Superman. It's this dossier that she's collected with way more information.
I'm confused. I guess Suicide Squad, you could argue, is because she had easy access to them. But if she had files on like the Flash and Aquaman, who aren't criminals, you'd think she would have tried to recruit them first. But whatever,
well, no,
maybe
because her idea was it was a shadow op thing, and I don't think she can control the Flash or Aquaman. You know what I mean? Like Harley Quinn is not either of those. Neither is Deadshot. So yeah, these are like powerless supervillains. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Except for El Diablo.
I liked at the end, though, in that end credits, she implies she knows he's Batman, which is the thing in the comics and the show. So
right, and in Batman Beyond. But also, and then I really liked that Affleck turns and goes, "Hey, you should really shut that down, because if you don't, me and my friends will." Implying that there's going to be some sort of fight eventually. It's probably going to be like a Legion of Doom thing, which is fine if they pull it off correctly, assuming that anything they make after this point isn't total shit. But again, Jeff Johns is in charge now. Ben Affleck is like the number 2. I have hope, and basically it stops at Justice League, and it's only because Flash is my favorite character, and if that doesn't work, then there's nothing they can do. This is their saving grace. Wonder Woman movie, I never had high hopes for. It looks pretty cool, but if it's a 7, okay, fine. But Justice League's got to be like an 8.5, 9 for me to go to another movie after that. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to wait, even though I'm a huge fan of all the comic book shit.
In the live stream, someone had a really good point. It's Quinn, actually. Hi, Quinn. Even though it had its flaws, wish we could have just gotten a live-action remake of Suicide Squad Assault on Arkham. If you don't know, Suicide Squad Assault on Arkham was the DC animated universe Suicide Squad movie. And I agree with you totally. They should have just done that plot, and it would have made more sense. The plot would be basically them breaking into Arkham to get something. I think in that one, it was the Riddler's cane had like a flash drive in it with information on Waller, and she wanted them to go get that. And that would make sense. That would be a better movie.
I did like the idea that they had to extract a person and that it was Waller, and that was the twist. But again, I said that the pacing of that twist was way off. Like that's a fine idea too.
But if they did,
it was the problem. The problem was the enemies they were facing was fucking just you made it up. It was Enchantress goons. It wasn't fun. That's
what I'm saying. If they did like an Assault on Arkham, they could go into Arkham. They could fight Arkham guards, which would be interesting. You get to see Arkham. You can throw in lots of references to other villains,
and they walk by like
sure.
A cell that you know is like Mr. Freezer.
Yeah, it's like really cold or something. Right, you could, and then when they go into like the evidence room, you could have tons of Easter eggs, and you don't even have to show the Riddler, but have it be the Riddler's cane, and grab the thing, and everyone be like,
"That's a really fantastic idea. A fantastic idea."
And Harley would be going because she's been in there, so she knows about the facility.
And what would also be fun,
she has a reason to be there.
Because you want to introduce the Joker, which is pretty much why you made this movie, and then you end up cutting all this shit, which is super weird. But is if she has a B plot that nobody really knows about until later, and then all of the pieces sort of fall into place, and it was her trying to get the Joker out, and then they do, and then that could be like a secondary conflict sort of thing near the climax, which would be an interesting twist, instead of just like, okay, we have the cane, and now we fucking go home. Now the Joker is like a threat. That could have been fun.
You know what I would have done? I told you I was going to tell you about this when I first saw the movie, how I would have done the Joker in this movie. Assuming you don't change anything else about the movie, which a lot of it needs to be changed, but at the very least, this is the change I would have made to the Joker. Don't ever show him in the body of the movie. You can have them texting like they did, and that would be the build-up. And in the flashbacks, I don't ever want to see the Joker. I don't even necessarily hear him.
I could hear him go like laughing or like that. What do we have here? Which was a good delivery of that line.
Right.
I think that would have been totally fine, but yeah, don't show him. Or maybe just show, like, you know how they did Godzilla? And where they kind of show like glimpses of the monster? Yeah. Be like that and build towards the Joker reveal. And don't show me the fucking trailers. You could just, all you got to do is finish one trailer near release with that laugh, that ha ha ha, that creepy laugh, and then you're like, everyone's going. But you fucking blew your wad immediately.
The first time I wanted to see the Joker in this imaginary version is, like I said, don't show him in the flashbacks. You can hear him, but don't see him. The first time I want to see him is at the very end in the movie when he blows that wall open and comes in and rescues Harley, or rescues, breaks her out. That would have been. Can you imagine that reveal if all of us, the wall blows in, he comes in, takes off the mask, and it's the Joker, and it's the first time you've seen the Joker,
right?
And a movie. Everyone would have gone fucking crazy. They would be like, oh my God. Even if the movie is the same movie and it's a bad movie, people still would have been like, holy shit, that's a great Joker introduction. That's amazing.
This is, okay, you don't market this by saying, the Joker's in this movie. You market this by saying, this is Suicide Squad, here's trailers 1 and 2, and then at the end of the third trailer, right before launch, you tease a little bit, and people start getting a buzz, and then you show this shitty movie. Well, it's not shitty. It's just really, really mediocre. I won't say shit. I'll say like a fart. And then, yeah, it's like a fart. That's not really unpleasant, but it's still a fart.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you reveal it just like that. Where, yeah, texting throughout the whole movie is fine. And maybe getting those brief flashbacks where there's glimpses of the monster, but you don't really ever get it. That's cool. Treat him like as scary as he is, because he's a genuinely scary character, and then save all that footage that you fucking cut and do a real Joker story somewhere.
I want to see the rest of the Joker footage. I want to see it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree with you. I really can't make a judgment, and if you haven't seen Suicide Squad yet, it's almost worth it just to figure out what you feel about the Joker, because like I said, it's super uncomfortable, and it's kind of really good that way. But it's also kind of bad because it's so uncomfortable. But I feel like if you got more of it, you get acclimated, sort of. You know what I mean?
I guess. I don't know how this Joker's going to interact with Ben Affleck Batman. I really can't imagine it, because this Joker is genuine. Like he's like a schizophrenic person. He's crazy. Yeah. And that's not to disparage actual schizophrenic people, but you know what I mean? Like he's like unhinged. He's
fuck schizophrenics.
He's like a disorganized schizophrenic, and then you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know his motivations. Fine. Yeah. But I can't see this guy going up against Ben Affleck Batman. Ben Affleck Batman, we saw him in Batman v Superman beat up a room full of thugs with guns.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, I don't know if Joker. Well, I don't know if Joker's never really been a physical match for Batman ever. It's always been more like he set up elaborate nonsense in his way before Batman comes in and beats his ass.
I like some of the aesthetic of the Joker. I like that his gang members, when they go out and do stuff, are in those like crazy costumes. I like that's kind of a neat idea. I like that.
I like that we're at Mob Boss Joker too. I think Mob Boss Joker is a neat version of that, where like the club scene is super awkward. He tattooed man, right? Or who is that? Common's character. I don't know who's Common's character.
Idea.
He's just some guy, some gangster dude, and it's all right. He's fine. He comes in, and they have a sort of gangster thing, and he mentions, "Hey, you're a lucky guy. Harley Quinn's super hot," and Joker like offers him Harley Quinn, and it's like no matter what that guy does, it's a death sentence from that point on, because Joker both wants him to accept the gift that he was given and also probably not to fucking act on that. And then the guy plays it cool. He's like, no, man, that's Harley Quinn. That's your person. Like it's Joker and Harley Quinn. We all know this. It's your thing, man. I don't want any beef or whatever he says. And then the Joker ends up probably killing him. They don't show it, but let's be fair. He blows his fucking head off probably because he's mad at the fact that he like doesn't take the gift, but he clearly is upset that Harley Quinn is on top of him, sort of like faux lap dance. It's super weird. It's again very uncomfortable, and part of me really is drawn to that because we've never really seen that.
Some of the lines I can hear Mark Hamill saying in my head. A lot of it, if some parts did feel like an adult version of the cartoon series Joker. Like, for instance, when he goes and gets Harley, he's wearing a tuxedo, which is a very animated series Joker thing to do. I could see him dressing up in some silly outfit for that. I mean, the scene itself was shit, but but I get it.
There's also that other scene where the prison guard, the guy that was in Mad TV, is kind of trapped in this area with. He kind of rubs his hands on. It's like really uncomfortable and like almost like the Joker would gobble him up.
Right, I did.
It was super awkward and uncomfortable, and I love that.
It's hard to say because there are parts I really like and parts I thought were weird, but I can't really fault him for that because so many scenes were cut. It's hard for me to make a solid judgment. I like the uncomfortableness. I like that he's a weird, creepy, gross Joker. I like that.
Yeah, gross is a good way to describe that because like Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't gross. He was just like clearly a threat. This one, you don't really know if he's going to snap at any... It's not like he telegraphs it like Heath Ledger did. He doesn't have a big soliloquy about his dad or the scars or any of that shit. It's just in a second, he might fucking cut your head off. It's super interesting. And I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to explore that more in the future. I could definitely see this Joker doing the stuff that we see in say, Injustice, where he blows up fucking Metropolis. Sure. He doesn't give a shit that he's going to get killed by Superman or whatever. That Joker could facilitate these needs for different really cool plots. However, I'm worried that they're not going to ever use him properly.
No, I don't think they will. I'm afraid what's going to happen is... Okay, I don't know if we're going to see... No, they did say Jesse Eisenberg is going to be in Justice League. So I guess Lex Luthor is coming back. Say what you will about Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, there's a lot of problems with it, and I'm not a huge fan. I kind of want to see how he interacts with the Joker, though. I don't know why, but because they're both kind of weird, and obviously people have drawn the comparison that Lex Luthor was almost acting more like a crazy Joker character, so I'd like to see them interact now. But I don't know if it's going to happen at this point, because I don't know how long this DC Extended Universe is going to happen because of all these shitty movies. This is the 4th shitty movie in a row. And I know you say it's not shit. I think it's pretty shitty. I'll still watch it again. It's the best of the last 4. But remember, Green Lantern was supposed to be the first in the DC Extended Universe, but it fucked up. So they scrapped it. Then they did Man of Steel, which I own. It's but it's not a very good movie. Batman vs. Superman sucks dick. And then this movie, which is not that
the Ultimate Edition is obviously better.
Yeah, but still, it's not that great. This is by far the best DC movie, and it's still not as good, in my opinion, as the worst Marvel movies. The Marvel universe
I'd watch this
movies.
over Iron Man 2 and probably the first Captain America, but those just bore me.
I just see we're close, but
it's like just under. Let's be real.
It's under because
I'd watch for me.
I'd watch Iron Man 2 and Captain America 1.
I hate that movie. It's so boring.
I'll watch Thor 2 before I'll watch this again. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, they really, honestly, at this point, they should just fucking reboot it. They need to either give up or straight up reboot it because they're honestly, they have so much baggage now. I'm not even saying recast people. You don't need to recast. Do a Flash thing. Have the Flash do Flashpoint from the comics.
Just reboot it. That would be fine, actually. I'm not opposed to that.
And get Snyder out of there entirely.
What they need to do, honestly, because I don't think they're going to reboot the universe. They're going to go forward. They're going to trudge along. What they need to do is take a break from your trying to catch up to Marvel bullshit and give us 2 Batman movies.
Yeah, they need a breather.
Because, they not only do they need a breather, but the audience needs something to gain faith in.
Yeah.
And that would do it. A Flash movie would probably do it too, because I think Ezra Miller was a fan. Even though he's only in this movie for 4 seconds, he's still one of the highlights. Because it was just interesting. It was like, oh, there's the Flash, Captain Boomerang, sweet. And then it's over. But it was still fun. He was immediately fun. And he the camera is drawn to him. And so is the audience. And so I think that'll work. I'm really excited to see how Aquaman is played as well. So I really have high hopes for Justice League. I'm worried, though, it's going to fall into this kind of thing where, although they will be stronger characters, I'm sure, the on-screen character-to-character moments are going to be highlights, but the overall plot is going to suffer again, just like this movie.
Why are they hiring these directors like Ayer, who has done fantastic movies in the past, and then in the editing room not letting them have their cut? I don't understand.
Warner Brothers needs to get their fucking act together. That's real. There's no executive is a creative person. They're just an executive.
Right.
Like, you're not making movies, just don't fucking talk about it. You can look at your analytics and you can suggest things, but just, you hired a person to do a job, let them do the job. It's micromanaging 101. Don't fucking do it.
I don't know, man.
It's clear that they have a hand in these decisions. Clear.
I hope Johns writes this ship, because I want these movies to be good. As much as I like Marvel, I would fucking look at behind me. I have Marvel posters, and I have a fucking giant Batman thing. I love Batman. I love the DC universe. I love all comic book characters for the most part. I want it to succeed so we can get accurate representations of these characters.
Now, it is a little ray of hope in this DC universe that we're wallowing in right now. Jeff Johns has had a 5-year run with The Flash in comic form. Some of the best work that The Flash has been part of. And I don't know how long he's been with Batman. Is he the current or just recently former Batman runner? Right, because I don't know how long he was there. He was like the Batman writer for a while, though, as well.
I think Scott Snyder is still in charge of the Batman run right now.
Right, Johns was in charge of some Batman stuff, though. But he was really, really good when he was. And he is now in charge of the cinematic. Now in charge. Suicide Squad, he was not under. He did not have that title when this was started to. Even by the post-production, he wasn't in charge. So it's a new day, and I'm really hoping that the next 2 movies are okay, because the potential is there to fucking blow Marvel away with really, really strong stories. Because Batman, Flash, even Superman could be interesting if you do it right. You gotta make him vulnerable and not have it be Lois that's his vulnerability. Aquaman, even Cyborg's fun. You could have all these things. Wonder Woman's cool, but you really, really, really need to nail it. And you can't just have like Marvel has the ability to have where Captain America just runs from the American government for 2 hours. And you're like, it's a good movie. But you can't do that with Batman or anyone else. You know what I mean? It's not the same. You have to have real big worldwide threats to push them against. And so I'm interested to see, because it's clearly going to have to do with Darkseid. So
I hope the one thing, creative abilities aside, John's the most important part in his role here now that he's like the president of that division or whatever.
It's a clout, right?
He needs to, when Warner Brothers comes and knocking at his fucking door and says, we need this change, this change, this change, this change, this change.
Throw your fucking weight around and say no.
He needs to say, no, you don't know what you're doing. Did you see the last 4 movies you made? You made Batman versus Superman make under $1 billion. That's insane for the clout that movie could have had. Can you imagine how much, if Batman versus Superman was a good movie or a great movie, that movie would have shattered records. It's the 2 most famous comic book characters
in the world.
Period. And not just comic book characters. Batman and Superman are some of the most famous fictional pop culture characters.
They're iconic.
Ever.
You can't show the cowl without someone going Batman. You can't show an S like that and go, oh, I don't know what that is. Everyone knows Batman and Superman. It could have been huge.
They fucked it up. I don't know. I'm hoping. I don't know how long the superhero thing's going to last. Marvel's going to be around for quite a while because they can coast off their success.
Doctor Strange looks really good.
Yeah. But I'm hoping the superhero thing lasts long enough that eventually we can do Batman v Superman again correctly. Even if it's 30 years from now, whatever. Like, do it right at some point. It's just...
If they do it again, yeah.
I don't know how you fuck up this bad for this long and not change what you're doing. I don't understand.
You abandon it and just go Batman until it works out. You can go Batman, Nightwing, Batman and Robin, some Joker stuff, stay in Gotham until you get some momentum, and then get a studio that will fucking trust your creative people.
Yeah.
And just go with it from there. Like Warner, yeah, it's bad. It's a bad situation when the executives are pulling so many strings. It's pretty shitty.
Warner Brothers is going to be hurting too, because they can only coast off the name recognition for so long. In the same way that a movie like Ant-Man can still make like $500 million off the Marvel name alone, even though people don't necessarily know who the character is in the general public.
Right.
all of a sudden DC, the name DC on a movie is gonna start. Like I'm telling you,
it's gonna start to stink.
It's gonna start to stink, and people are gonna go, "Ooh, DC," in the same way people go, "Oh, Marvel." So I'm already gonna tell you, I project this right now. This movie's gonna hurt Wonder Woman, unless Wonder Woman word of mouth better be great, because the first weekend is already gonna hurt.
It's gotta be.
Warner Brothers at least has, this is like the first big female-led superhero movie, so it's going to get some boost from that. That's a fact. You can argue with me whether or not it should, or if it's going to be good or bad, but that's a fact. I think the good thing is, at least if it sucks, Marvel's still doing Captain Marvel with Brie Larson. Is that her name?
Yeah, she looks fantastic too.
That movie, I'm sure, will be good. That'll be fun. So we'll still get a good female-led superhero movie, but I don't know what else to say. The movie, I can see the good parts. I can see the actors; they're good choices for these roles.
Even Deadshot, which we were worried about, because we were worried he's just going to be Will Smith, and he wasn't.
Kind of was.
He was. I mean, he's always Will Smith, but it wasn't. It was definitely more. It was a character though. Like it wasn't just Will. It wasn't Bad Boys. It wasn't Independence Day. It was a character he was playing, so that was fine. And he did a good job. Margot Robbie, of course, did a good job. I like Leto. I like him in this. Obviously, the sample size was too small to really decide. Like, it's not Heath Ledger, but I think it's a very, very different Joker, and I'm interested to see what they do with it. Amanda Waller was great. Captain Boomerang was cool. The other stuff doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So overall,
it's worth a watch if you're really into the DC universe. I would go see it like one of the cheap shows.
Yeah, cheap show, or wait for it to come out like on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever.
If you're at all excited about it, it's totally worth the watch. It's not bad. It's just really not. Like, you don't come out of it getting really excited. Like when you walked out of Episode 7 of Star Wars, you're kind of geeked about the rest of the universe. You're excited to go for it. In this, it's just kind of like, okay, I guess these characters exist in this universe. I'm waiting for Justice League. To happen.
So, anyone, if you have any questions for us about the movie or anything in general, I guess go ahead and do them now, because I think we're going to start winding down. I saw Sausage Party also, by the way. Did you see that yet, Jake?
I have not. I'll see it.
I'm going to talk about it briefly, because I can't imagine we're going to do its own live thing for Sausage Party. Sausage Party is one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life, and it was a lot of fun. So if you liked the trailers for Sausage Party, you will like the movie. Dumb as fuck. Very funny, though. It's like a movie that knew it was bad. They made jokes about how crass the jokes were. My audience fucking loved Sausage Party. That was great. It's good to see, especially like a raunchy comedy like that. That's just 90% dick butt fart jokes, and the audience likes it. For some reason, it elevates the movie. And there was a 5-minute food orgy at the end. Like
5 minutes, huh?
I'm not even fucking kidding. It lasts way longer than you expected. It just keeps getting like worse, not worse because it was funny, but literally, I saw a Jewish bagel toss the salad of like an Arab falafel thingy, like wrap.
Oh, I like that.
It was weird. Anyway,
I'm fairly new to the comic book scene. Are the movies a good place to start, or should I take the time to read through some of the comics? The comics are all over the place in every comic book, whether it's Marvel, DC, Image, whatever. No comic book maintains canon very well, because there's a bunch of different independent writers, and they try to consolidate. Like Marvel, for instance, is on Civil War Part 2. DC is on DC Universe Rebirth now. Like, I literally went to the comic shop yesterday, and I could not find 5 comic books that were serialized that made sense together. It's just all over the place. You really have got to be on top of the comic book stuff to really get it. So what you should do is watch all the animated stuff that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is always really solid and serialized and easy to digest. And then if you want to pick up a comic book and kind of get into a series, I would suggest doing research beforehand and probably ordering offline and getting like compendiums instead of single issues.
Yeah, even like
single issues are more for collectors anyways.
Justice League, the show from like the early 2000s, is still it holds up. It holds up really well.
There's a lot of really great animated DC stuff. Which, by the way, Warner Brothers fucked up the Killing Joke animated.
Yeah, they did. That was
so not even the animated stuff right now is doing well.
Yeah, I don't know what they're
Warner
doing.
Brothers is just shitting the bed. They're having a Nintendo issue.
They really are.
This used to sell. It's like we don't fucking like the 90s anymore. Please move on. It's it's one of those situations. Do you guys read Image comics? In my opinion, Marvel and DC is horrible right now. Image does have really, really great stuff, but the issue is none of it's nearly as iconic. So, also, by the way, there was an Easter egg that you can't really see with the naked eye in Suicide Squad. Whenever they introduce a character at the beginning, actually, I don't think it was all of the characters. I think it was Boomerang, Deadshot, and Harley Quinn. They got these graphical treatments. Basically, they'd be like, "This is Deadshot, blah blah blah." Here's a short thing about it, and then it would show you a short scene with Deadshot, and then they'd do some sort of action, and then it would freeze frame, and it would go like, Deadshot title, and then it would say like stuff about him. In Harley's thing, it did, Harley Quinn. It was different art style. It was actually pretty fun and well put together. And then really quick at the bottom of the screen, it says an accessory to murder of Jason Todd. Oh, so that did happen. It did happen.
Oh, I didn't even notice
in
that.
the DC universe. Which
awesome.
So it is confirmed that the Robin suit in Batman v Superman in the Batcave is Jason Todd's.
That's good. I'm glad they established that.
It is cool. Well, that means that the Joker killed Jason Todd, meaning that while his outward appearance and actions seem not threatening, he was able to kill the number 2 to Batman, who's probably going to end up being the Red Hood later if they get that far. But still,
I'm not confident they will.
Also, if Jason Todd's a thing, that means Dick Grayson is a thing, which means Nightwing is a thing, which makes me super fucking excited. Nightwing on screen, I would jizz all over everyone's popcorn.
Yeah, there was actually a rumor before this. There was some actor.
Have 2 dicks.
There was an actor actually in this that's famous, and he wound up being they never said who he was. He's just some side character, but people thought for a while, they're going to reveal he was Dick Grayson, and he was like,
oh yeah, it was the second in command to Rick Flag, that guy.
Yeah, people
actually they think he's Dick Grayson undercover, which is still could be.
Yeah, I guess but people said
there's no reason to believe that.
No, it's just interesting theory. How is it that Batman that kills people didn't kill? How is it that a Batman that kills people didn't kill the Batman that killed Jason Todd? You mean why doesn't Batman kill the Joker? I assume is what you're saying. Good question. I don't know. Maybe he couldn't find him. Maybe after that. I assume what happened. This is just my theory. I assume Joker killed Jason.
That was the name of the guy. Go ahead.
I'm assuming Batman caught the Joker killing Jason Todd, beat his face in. I assume that's why his teeth are all fucked up. I assume that's like the worst beating he ever gave him, and then threw him in prison. I assume that Batman didn't start killing people until Metropolis, and I just assume he didn't have a run-in with Joker since then.
LOL,
he doesn't see Joker every day. I mean, he could probably go a year without seeing him or something.
Right. LOL, Captain Marvel is a dude. You are wrong. How does it feel to be wrong? You're so wrong. There
have been several Captain Marvels. The current one is a woman. What's her name?
And that one, by the way, it's something Marvel. That, by the way, she in the comics right now is having a relationship. Well, did have a relationship with what the fuck's his real name? Star-Lord. What's his real name? Quinn.
Oh fuck! Why can't I remember his name?
It's
Peter Quill. Peter
Quill. They have a kid or something, I think, at some point. I could be wrong, but so that's obviously going to play into the current Marvel thing and tie it all together.
Unless that person was thinking of Shazam, which is the DC one, and it legally is not called Captain Marvel anymore. Shazam, because Marvel owns Captain Marvel. It was a legal issue for a while.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Marvel. Yeah.
What company would we like to see handle the DC universe? Good question. Actually, it'd be nice. This isn't going to happen because this only happened to Marvel. Once they made good movies. Yeah, kind of. Honestly, that sounds terrible, and I'm afraid of Disney. I'm afraid of Disney owning so many franchises. But let's be real. They haven't fucked it up yet. They made Star Wars come back.
Say what you will about Disney, and I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, but fuck you. The thing about Disney is they have never, ever had a problem letting the creative people be creative.
Nah, I wouldn't say that's true. The reason that the guy left Ant-Man, what's his face, the Hot Fuzz guy, did the Cornetto trilogy? Yeah, that guy. Why am I forgetting his goddamn name? He did.
I don't know.
Why can't I remember his name?
Yeah,
he did those the Shaun of the Dead.
Sure. Yes. Okay. Who cares? Move on.
Anyway,
what is
he
your
left
point?
because Marvel was being too nitpicky and
Marvel, not DC. Marvel owns the rights to those characters, so I think that's DC would still have a hand in the characters. You know what I mean? But yeah, Disney being the producers in the studio that was in charge of that shit and the rights to it, I think would definitely handle that situation. They don't put their fingers in it, and if they do, it seems because of the quality of content that comes out, it's more of a constructive criticism rather than a you just have to take this out bullshit nonsense. You know what I mean? Because they're allowing Rogue One to be a little darker in tone than Star Wars. You know what I mean? Yep. So it just seems like they kind of get it, and yeah, I'd happily see that happen. It won't though, so it won't happen.
Do you think Damian Wayne could fit in the Batfleck universe?
Fuck Damian Wayne.
I hope not. I don't like Damian Wayne. I think I don't.
So lame. Tell the uncle is my mom and I'm an assassin. Don't do that. I'm Batman. No killing. Oh, but I want to kill. Don't do it. I'm Batman. We get it. It's not fun. No one gives a shit.
Edgar Wright was his name. Nice.
Scroll. I don't know. Damien is the worst. Cast Jaden Smith. They probably fucking would.
Where do you see DC in 5 to 10 years? Do you
the comic book company or the movies?
The movies, I will say, unless the next 2 movies are really good, there won't be any movies. If you're talking about the comic books, there'll probably be 3 or 4 reboots in 5 to 10 years from now. They'll reboot it a couple more times, and
you know what? Honestly, I would just like to see just one writer take each character and just not necessarily have them cross over, man. Just go with it and just write your own canon per character. Who cares? They can just be like legends and just here's a story that I heard, and then it's Batman stories for 5 years. That's fine. Sure. I don't know why we have to intertwine them so much. It's super odd. It's kind of like the CW where they just think everything needs to cross over.
Does it feel weird to you guys that Batman is so old and everyone else is new? I want Batman to be around for a while, but I would have, instead of having him be Batman for 20 years, I would have done 10 or 5, like it is in the comics usually. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have gone 20 because I know Ben Affleck is older, so they had to write that in, but I don't know. I wouldn't have had to be quite so old. They do age him up a little in the movie. He has some gray hair that I don't think he has in real life. So.
I kind of like this version of Batman. Because he kind of has this sort of I'm the old guard sort of thing going on. And I kind of like the Batman that has to adapt to metahumans late. In my head, it's interesting for him he has that freak out when Superman happens, which by the way, they're roughly the same age. Superman just didn't start being active until later in the timeline. And I think it's interesting because this is a more paranoid version. So he's going to have crazier contingencies and shit for the different characters. And I would like them to explore that, actually. That'd be a really, really good movie. If Batman has to take out the Justice League to prevent something and maybe they don't know why, and it seems like Batman's the bad guy during the movie until the end where it's a twist or something, that would be fun. I'm hoping we get some cool stuff. They really, really can't afford to miss out on Green Lantern, though.
Yeah.
You need to bring Green Lantern in and have Hal be the Green Lantern and have him banter with Flash and make fun of Batman for not having any powers. And you need all that, and you need it quick. And I don't mean push it in without grace. Get a movie out with the Green Lantern Corps or whatever, but tie it in at the end and then have him come in part 2 or something. But you need it. If you do both Justice Leagues without him, it's not Justice League.
Yeah. Killing Joke. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'll talk a little bit here specifically. We're talking about the Batgirl Batman fuck scene. That was weird. It's actually Bruce Timm who did the animated series Batman, which is great, and he's done some great work for DC Animated. For some reason, he has this weird. He what do they call it? He ships Barbara Gordon and Bruce for some reason, which is creepy for a lot of reasons. One, the age difference, which is weird.
Also, Bruce is like friends and sort of quasi mentor to Gordon. It seems betrayy.
It really is. He's basically fucking his friend's daughter. Also, right. Batman is sort of a fatherly figure to her. Also, she has dated Dick Grayson. Right. So he's like fucking his surrogate son's ex-girlfriend. And right now, this is actually happening right now in the Batman Beyond comics. It turns, this is so fucked. This actually pisses me off. Listen, I like Batman to be kind of a dick. This crosses the line way too far. It turns out that in the universe of the Batman Beyond comics, Dick and her were about to get married. Was it Dick or was it the other Robin? Not Jason Todd.
It's usually Dick.
Is it Dick? Anyway, it was one of the Robins, probably Dick. They were going to get married, Barbara and him, but then she ends up having to tell him, oh, I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh, that's great. But she's like, I'm this many months along. And it turned out basically she had an affair with Batman while she was dating and engaged to Dick. And it was really fucked up.
Dick, right? Not Tim Drake. Tim Drake is the other Robin.
Yeah, I think
Tim Drake's other Robin. Jason Todd.
It might have been Tim. It might have been Tim. Because in the Arkham games, Tim's the one who's dating her.
Maybe it's
I think
Tim.
so.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was messed up. I don't like that ship at all. Someone needs to tell Bruce Timm it's creepy and it's bad and don't do that. Because Batman, that's so out of character. He would not do that. He wouldn't do that.
Right, that's just tactically it doesn't make sense. Yeah, he's not ever like a bat. He's a dick, and he's usually right when he's a dick. Like this isn't like he's usually like, no, Tim, I don't need help. And then Tim just won't help, and then it'll work out because it was a trap for Tim or something. Like he just knows, but he's kind of he keeps it close to the vest so no one gets hurt, and he's kind of takes the burden himself. And that's kind of the motif with Batman, where he's like very self-punishing. When he could ask for help, he doesn't do it to try to protect those around him, kind of because his parents died in front of his face. And that's kind of like the mentality of he wouldn't fuck Barbara. It just wouldn't, right? It just doesn't make sense with all the characters we've learned over the last fucking like 70 years. It just doesn't make sense.
Someone says, do you mean Oracle? She is Oracle, but I think in the comics right now, in that universe, it's an offshoot of the actual animated series Batman Beyond, and in that she never got shot by the Joker and became paralyzed. There was a different sort of Killing Joke interpretation there, where it was Robin who got kidnapped by the Joker and brainwashed because it was for kids. They couldn't do the strip naked thing. So I don't think in the DC animated universe that was set up then, I don't think she ever became Oracle, because in Batman Beyond, she's Commissioner Barbara Gordon, and she walks. So I don't think she ever got paralyzed in that universe.
I mean, to be fair, Batman's suit is like a robot suit at that point. So maybe she could have like robot leg things. Robot pantsuit.
Hugo, do you think we need another DC animated movie that focuses on Damian Wayne coming to terms with his heritage? Oh my God. No, seriously. The fucking DC animated movies recently, like half of them are about Damian. I don't get it. Batman versus Robin was I think the first one he was introduced in. Or wait, no, Son of Batman was the first one. Have it in one. That's fine. They wanted to focus on Damian. I don't like him as a character, but fine. I get it. It's part of the comics now, and you're doing sort of the new 52 in the animated one, so it's fine. Then Batman versus Robin came out, and again, it's about the conflict between him and Damian. And I was like, okay, they kind of already did this, and now they're mixing in the Court of Owls stuff, but not very well. And then Justice League versus Teen Titans came out, and it's the same fucking thing, except Batman like has Dick Grayson drop him off at Teen Titans headquarters and become a member to teach him not to murder people, and he almost murders the Blue Beetle because I'm Damian, and I've been in Gotham with Batman for like a year, but I still don't know not to murder people. It's terrible. The animated movies haven't been very good recently. So
that's sad. Those are some of my favorite stuff sometimes.
The animation
the Justice League stuff is really good. Flashpoint is a really good animated thing on Netflix.
Yeah, I actually, Justice League War wasn't too bad. A lot of people don't like any of the post-Flashpoint animated movies, but I thought War was at least interesting. It was fine. I'm still not used to the new Batman voice. I like the guy who did the animated series, but in fairness, he's like him and Mark Hamill are like the bar for voice acting Batman and Joker, so it's hard to live up to it. But he's gotten better actually, the new guy. But still, it sounds weird to me.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, Suicide Squad needed a lot of work. It needed really, honestly, if it was just a different overarching plot, it would have gone just fine.
Yeah, the plot was terrible. Some of the writing was bad. The jokes, some of them were bad. The act—that's the worst part. I liked the people who played the characters and how they played them.
And that's why I wasn't really mad about it, because the performances were fine. Like, they were all like, I believed that Harley Quinn was Harley Quinn and Boomerang and etc. And it's like, but it's just like, I don't care what they're doing because it's not interesting.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It was a bummer. But it gives me hope moving forward because the characters are strong enough to do well in other settings with other people in charge. So I would really love a Batman like Arkham situation in a movie with those characters. Totally.
I agree.
Like, there's nothing wrong with those characters in a well-written script. So it gives me hope. Again, we'll see what happens after Wonder Woman and Justice League. Those are probably the only two I'm going to watch. Although if they do a solo Flash movie, I don't know if my insides will let me not. But I might not see anything in between those. I'll see a solo Batman movie though. Batfleck's fantastic. So yeah, if you really like the DC universe, if you slightly enjoyed Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, this is better than that. So you'll still like this enough to warrant your daytime movie ticket. I wouldn't go see it like at night where you spend an extra $4 or $5. But yeah, it's worth, if you have another nerd friend to go with, you can go. It's worth the conversation that it spawns after that. I like personally brainstorming better plots with Hugo because I think we're better at it. But
it's not a high bar to
it's really not. It's really, really not. Assault on Arkham really is the way that should have gone. But so go see it or don't. It really doesn't matter. You're not missing anything. The Joker is worth exploring. Some of the characters are fun. Harley is probably my highlight along with Amanda Waller. And then the after credits thing. So yeah, whatever you want to do, it doesn't really matter. You're not missing out, but you're not missing out. It's just like sort of benign.
This whole situation makes me realize how badly Marvel could have fucked up and how bad the movies could have been, but somehow they did it. I'm just thankful that we have at least... I love comic book characters. Comic book characters are some of my favorite fictional characters. They're just so fun. You know, the universes they live in are just so fun, and you can tell so many stories with them. And I'm so glad Marvel's still going strong. A lot of people get superhero fatigue. I totally understand that, but it's just a genre that I don't get tired of. So I hope they keep going for a while because... man, I don't know. They could do a lot with it, and I'm just so fucking upset with Warner Brothers. Stop, guys. And the worst part, if they do an extended edition of Suicide Squad, I'm not going to pay for it, but I'll watch it because I want to see the Joker scenes. I want to see it. You're so close, guys. If this is indicative of the direction you're going, it's good news because it is sort of a slight steer in the right direction. It's still bad.
It really is. It's like you can. They're not turning into the skid enough.
Yeah,
but it's definitely the right way to turn, if that makes sense. Like, you're not making the skid worse. You're just really not avoiding the tree you're about to run into. So, like, just a little bit more corrective action, and I think we're good to go. I think it'll be fine. What's up next, though? I'm looking at what's coming up next. I think it's Strange, right?
Probably. I don't think anything else big comes out until then.
I'm sorry. Wolverine in next year? I don't want that. Why am I getting a pop-up? Just stay away from me. Pop-ups. Yeah, Doctor Strange is the next one, November 4th. And then, of course, we have Rogue One in December. March 3rd, Wolverine. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is May 5th. Wonder Woman's June 2nd. Spider-Man Homecoming is actually next year, July 7th. Thor Ragnarok, November. Justice League, November 17th. Black Panther in February of 2018. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming out.
People in the comments saying that the superhero movies are dying down. They're really not.
They're making more money every year.
just wait until Doctor Strange comes out, assuming that's a good movie, and I have confidence that it will be. Like,
it looks really fun. It looks like a cool movie.
Even if adults get sick of it, kids love that crap. Kids love the Marvel movies, dude. Like from the age of like 5 to 12, kids eat that shit up. So
you honestly can't tell me you're not excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Come on.
Right. And eventually, I assume Marvel will scale back, because right now was this year, next year, and the year after are probably going to be their peak years of how many movies they're making a year. And then after Infinity War 1 and 2 come out, it'll start going down. And then at some point, they'll probably get to a comfortable 1 movie a year, and we'll enjoy them, and it won't be as big of a thing, but they'll still be a thing. But yeah, the fad is it's going to die down.
Well, the Marvel series are coming out too next year, and at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So
they're quality though.
Yeah, they really are. So man, I always want to say it's going to die down, but it just kind of hasn't. It's gained or kept momentum ever since the first Iron Man. In the same way that some people have that conspiracy theory that Trump is just tanking the election as a favor to Hillary, I almost feel like Warner Brothers is trying to dilute the superhero movies and make them shittier so they get a bad reputation so they can take down. Yeah. Do you think AR used Diane Antwoord's aesthetic for Joker and Harley? No, it's not really close to that. Diane Antwoord's more. I'm going to say this word, and it won't make sense if you don't know who they are. Placental. They always have this sort of nasty membrane thing going on. So no, this is Hot Topic, but it's less cringy in action though, right? It is, but people are going to misconstrue it. I was at the mall last week or something. It was like the week before. No, it was like the week before Suicide Squad came out. Hot Topic's whole front was all Suicide Squad posters and merchandise. And of course, misconstruing the Joker-Harley relationship into a positive thing, like crazy love, and then a picture of fucking Harley. No, they are in a very abusive relationship. It's like the people who read 50 Shades and think that's what the BDSM community is like. And that's terrible because that's an abusive relationship they're in. I don't know. Yeah, for sure. Poor teenagers getting taken advantage of by Hot Topic. Okay, so someone asked me, who is my ideal Jason Todd cast? Because obviously, in the comics, the killing of Jason Todd ends up just being he tortures him for months and months and then turns into the Red Hood, or the resurgence of the Red Hood, basically. My perfect casting for Jason Todd is Aaron Paul. Ooh. Because he plays abused really well. Interesting. And Jason Todd's such an emotional character that I think you have to get someone that can convey emotion really well. Aaron Paul could really do it, and he's got the shaved head already. He looks the part. You'd have to work out a little bit. He's a little short, but that's fine. That's not a cast I ever would have thought of, but you are spot on. That would be excellent. Plus, he's older, but it makes sense in this universe that he'd be older. I'm assuming I would assume in this universe, because it is, even though it's a comic book world, it's trying to be somewhat more realistic. I assume even Dick Grayson, when Batman picked him up, was a little older. I assume he wasn't really young like he is in some of the versions. Boy Wonder, probably not. More like Chris O'Donnell age. I assume he was either late teens, early 20s, or in his 20s or something. Yeah, I mean, Jason Todd, isn't he like a police officer when that starts? I don't know. The only Dick Grayson, or is that Tim Drake? I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I think a genuinely abused person like a Jason Todd could be pulled off well by Aaron Paul, and then definitely the fight scenes would be fun. I'm hoping that they do that. That would be a fantastic thing. Kind of like the Bat family is always like a really big deal, and if you could really nail that, oh man, that'd be cool. I'm looking forward to Batman movies. This is a good question. We really got to start wrapping up just because we've been here forever. Last question. Okay. What do you guys prefer, a Batman Arkham film or an Under the Red Hood film? That's a really good question. What I prefer? Personally, for me, I would go Arkham just because I love those games and I would like to see what they can do with it in movie form. And you have tons of... The one thing about the Batman movies, because even when you do the ones with multiple villains, it's always, the top tier villains. But Batman has such an interesting deep bench of side villains and smaller ones that they've never been able to do in the movies because there just isn't time. I want to see Calendar Man. I want to see Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I want to see some of these, lesser known characters, even if it's briefly, I think while I'm more interested, kind of, in the Red Hood story, and I think less people are exposed to it, and it'd be just interesting to see how they did on screen. Arkham would be a better movie in general.
Yeah.
And I think the amount of Easter eggs and extra characters and brief, like, can you imagine maybe Vincent D'Onofrio as Calendar Man for just a minute? I know he has like probably a no compete clause in his contract because he's with Marvel, but just for a brief moment,
yeah, that'd be neat.
Of Calendar Man. I think it would nail it. And also like Zaz or Man Bat or these characters that don't deserve a movie. Even Victor Fries, who I don't think deserves a movie. I think he's just an interesting character.
They fucked that character up now in the comics, though.
What is he now?
Okay, so his original backstory...
It's not really his wife, right, at this point?
Yeah, which I thought was an interesting idea at first, but then I thought about it, and I don't like that. Because Victor Fries was one of the only Batman villains that was genuinely sympathetic when they changed the backstory to his wife having that disease. But now he's just another crazy guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, part of it.
So
yeah, it's basically Joker with a freeze gun that's obsessed. Yeah, I like it better that Batman kind of wants to help Nora.
Yeah,
but he's like, and he tries to, but like Victor kind of prevents that, or it's just not a situation where anyone can help. And it's an interesting dichotomy that I think they erase when they just make him crazy. But I think Arkham movie would be really fucking cool.
Did you get the DLC for Arkham Knight where they have the closure on Mr. Freeze's story?
I don't know.
Oh, it's actually really good. I consider Arkham games to kind of be a continuation of the animated series because they borrow so much from it. The ending to Mr. Freeze was actually really, really great in that Mr. Freeze has a lab set up, as per usual, since the city's on lockdown. He needs some stuff to get Nora fixed or whatever. And Batman helps because he needs help from Victor. And their relationship is good as always. Very interesting. And then in the end, he does unfreeze her, but she's not cured. And he's like, oh, I got to freeze you again. And she's like, Victor, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like, okay. So he takes off his helmet and they sit there and they spend like they're both going to die. They spend their last day together. And it was just a nice ending to his character.
That's a great ending.
Yeah. And stuff like that. So, see, that's why Batman villains are so great. They have such good backstories.
Can you imagine a Mr. Freeze centric story with that ending now in cinematic universe? Think about that.
It'd be awesome. So,
like you for 2 hours, you're like, no, Mr. Freeze, fucking stop. You're a bad guy. And then at the end, you turn it on its head and you're sympathetic. And Batfleck just kind of walks away from the situation like this is the choice they made. Like, that's brilliant. That's such a good idea. Yeah, they should do this shit.
Anyway.
About it. So that's it.
Suicide Squad, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. It's watchable. You can watch it. It's better than Batman v Superman. It's better than Man of Steel. It's watchable at least once. I'll watch it again occasionally. Watch it with someone who likes those characters. You'll have a good time, but it's not a very well put together film. The plot's bad.
They really need to spend more time even-handedly dealing with the characters. Because it was very top heavy with Harley and Deadshot. But anyways, that's it. That's all. So
thanks everyone. Thanks for showing up. As always, the next one of these we're gonna do. What is it gonna be for?
Probably Doctor Strange.
Probably
next live stream discussion worth it. I mean, we'll. Oh no, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably gonna be Luke Cage.
Maybe
that comes out soon, right?
I have jury duty for the next 2 weeks anyway, so I don't know when I'm gonna have time to.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, not next 2 weeks, but we'll tell everybody. It'll be a Sunday, like usual.
Anyway, so thanks everyone for coming. Hope you guys have a good night. I hope DC starts making better movies, and I hope Ben Affleck takes the gun out of his mouth because he still needs to make solo Batman movies.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone. Later.